Hello and welcome back to my channel. In today's video we are going to do this new mold that I got. In my last video I did a huge Little Lee and Rose haul. They had a big spectacular sale and I bought all kinds of stuff. Everything was heavily discounted. For a whole week they would add new items every day that were discounted. So I got this mold. I don't know if you can see here. It's a skeleton mold. And inside, down in the bottom there, well, actually that's the top when you flip it over, but it's got like rose design in there. So my plan today for this uses a lot of resin. And so in order to avoid using a lot of resin for this thing, what I'm gonna do, there's two things you can do. You can use things as filler to mix in with the resin. And like those Dollar Tree clear rocks you get, the crystals, you can use those. Or if you want colored ones, if you want to see them, you can use that. But today, what I'm going to do is I took this plastic Dollar Tree ornament. And what I did, let me show you. So this is what they look like when you get them. So what I did is I took this piece out here. And then I cut off this piece right here so that I would have a smooth surface. So I did that off camera already. And then I smoothed the surface just a little bit right there. And what we're gonna do is fill this. It's gonna be like a shaker or like a snow globe. So I'm gonna fill it. I already poured water in here to see how much this thing's gonna need altogether. So it's gonna take about a half a cup. So I already have about a quarter of a cup of water in this glass jar already. And then what I'm gonna do is you need vegetable glycerin, which is this guy right here. So I'm gonna mix another quarter of a cup into this glass and mix it. You gotta make sure you mix it very well. So I'm going to need a total of a half a cup. So I'm going to add another fourth of a cup, which will make this about a half a cup. So there we go. And then the other thing I'm going to do is add some glitter to it. So I just got this live mix from Little Lee and Rose. It's live mix 112. And I'm going to add a little bit of that to this to make it, snow globe. So I'm gonna go ahead and dump a little bit of that in here. You can dump as little or as much as you want. I'm gonna do about like so. And this is kind of chunky. Not sure if you can tell on camera, but it's kind of chunky, mid-sized glitter with, different colors in there a little bit. So now what I'm gonna do is, like I said, you wanna make sure you mix this up really well, so that the glycerin and the water mix together. And then I'm actually going to grab some tape real quick before I pour that in. Which I forgot to grab. So this is crystal clear Gorilla Tape. There's many ways that you can do what I'm doing, but I find this to be the easiest. So I'm going to give this a little mix again. And I think if this will hold right here, I'm going to use this as my holding vessel so that I can dump this in. And it's better if you have a glass or plastic, whatever you're mixing in, it doesn't matter, a little spout so that you can pour into the hole. So I'm going to go ahead and pour this in. And you could use a funnel too, but you want to pour this all the way, not overflowing obviously, but you want it all the way to the top. And it looks like actually I need a little bit more than that. So I thought a half a cup was going to be good. I measured, but I guess I'm going to put this in here for now to hold that. I'm going to add about another 1/4 of a cup. And depending on how you want your snow globe to move around, if you want it to shake really, you know, flow slowly or fastly, depends on how much glycerin and water ratio. I'm doing 50-50. That's, I've found to be what I like the best. I probably don't need a full another 1/2 cup by any means, but I'm gonna mix that up. And I could always use, you can save this and mix it later to add to something else. You can put it in a jar and, you know, save it for later. So I'm gonna add a little more glitter. I'm gonna go ahead and mix this up. All right, and as you can see, this wasn't a good holding vessel. I'm not sure, actually, if you did see, it was kind of slipping down like it just did out of my hand right now. So make sure you have a good holding vessel to put it in. I'm just gonna hold it in my hand for right now, and then I'm going to dump the rest in. And like I said, you wanna fill it up, but not overflow it, because you don't want any air bubbles in there when you turn this thing over once it's all done. All right, so that's good. I might take, actually I think that might work well, but now what I want to do is make sure that the outer part is really dry. You don't want any liquid on there whatsoever. And then once that's dry, again, find a a good holding vessel. I didn't do a really good job of that in this video, but we're going to take this see. So we're going to take this, and I'm going to add a piece of this Gorilla Tape on top. And again, you want to make sure that your tape is not wet and that your globe is not wet. So let me, oh perfect, I'm going to put that right there until I get my, it fits inside this plastic cup, so I'm going to hold it because it's hard for me to do. This. All right, so I'm going to cut this tape, make sure I got a good clean piece. And you can cut a little bit bigger piece than you actually need. You're going to trim it later after you put it on anyways. So not a big deal, but again, I'm going to get this out of here and make sure that it's fully wiped off at the top. And I did spill a tiny little bit, so I'm just going to dump a tiny bit more in there. And as you see, I overflowed a little bit right there, so all you can do is just take a paper towel, kind of soak up a little bit, and there you go. And I'm going to grab, let's see, another towel here. Perfect. Okay, so now that that's nice and dry, I'm going to go ahead and put our tape right on top of that. And you want to make sure you give it a good seal. Alright guys, so I had to do this off camera because it was just a little difficult because I don't have anything that will hold this up without falling over. I didn't have the right vessels. So what we're gonna do here now, I've got this tape on here, and I'm going to take my razor, or you can use like an X-Acto knife. Where did my razor go? Oh, here we go. All right, so now what we're gonna do is cut around. You wanna leave a little bit of, you don't wanna cut right where the circle is, you wanna cut a little around it, and it doesn't have to be a perfect circle or whatever because it's gonna be inside the mold anyway. So you just wanna make sure that the water is not gonna, your water and glycerin mixture is not going to spill out. That's all you basically want to cut for. So once you've cut around it, you want to get the excess tape off. Perfect, okay. Almost there. Okay, so now what you want to do, now that you've got the tape off, I'm just going to give a little wipe, make sure nothing got spilled out. So you want to press down, make sure you have a good seal. So now what we're going to do is take this UV resin and we're going to put that around the tape and on top and around. So you want to cover all of the tape plus a little bit around the tape. And you want to make sure you have it covered good. And it doesn't matter if it's level or even because it's going to be inside that mold. And you won't even see it anyways. So I am going to take a little popsicle stick and just kind of move it around to make sure that I've got everything covered. And like I said, you want to go outside of the tape area a little bit to make sure that you get a nice good seal. And I'm going to add just a tiny bit more around the outer side of the tape. There we go. Make sure, like I said, you want a really good seal there. And then you're going to take your UV light. I have a flashlight. I also have like a little nail UV, but I like this better. I have a flashlight here. So we're just gonna cure that, I think probably for about 30 seconds to a minute. And you wanna get as close as you can, but you obviously don't wanna touch it because you don't want the UV resin to get on the light. And you see I'm just moving it around a little bit to make sure that I get everything evenly because this light is not big enough to cover the whole thing and get all of the UV resin cured. All right, so that's pretty good. I'm going to give it another maybe 15 seconds. All right, so now what we're going to do is get our mold ready here. I want to make sure I got a little bit of glycerin and stuff in there when I tried to use it as a vessel to hold. So you want to make sure you get everything out of there and dry it off because otherwise the resin will not cure. Water and resin do not mix well. And actually what I'm going to do is, because it still feels a little wet and it's going to be hard to dry, I'm going to take my heat gun and hit it a little bit, and maybe that will help. That will help dry it. Yes, so that definitely helped. I just want to get, there's a little piece of glitter in there. And you know, actually what you can do with this is flip it inside out. That way you can get all the glitters out if there's anything stuck in there. Because I want this is going to be clear. I might put a tiny tint to it, but I want the snow globe to really show. So I don't want to put too much color, because then otherwise you won't be able to see the snow globe itself. It's, you know, it'll defeat the purpose. All right, so I got all the glitter out. There's a little bit on top here, but that's okay, because that's not going to be part of the mold when it comes out. So now what I'm going to do is go ahead and stick this in here upright. Doesn't have to be perfect, but you know, you want it to be pretty close, because like I said, once you flip it over, you're not going to see it anyways. So I'm going to go ahead and mix my resin off camera to save some time, and I'll be right back. Alright guys, we are back. I have mixed the resin. And one thing I want to say, I haven't mentioned in a while, when you're working with resin, I'm working in an outside area, so it's ventilated. But definitely if you're working inside, you want to make sure you're wearing your respirator mask, because these chemicals can be toxic even though you can't smell them. So, like I said, I'm in an outside area where it's well ventilated. I still wear my mask when mixing. I just don't wear it when I'm on camera, because you can't really hear what I'm saying. So, I'm not really sure how much this is going to take. I mixed up about 4.5 ounces. It might be a little bit too much. Then again, it might not be enough. One thing I didn't do is measure how many ounces the whole mold was, because that would have given me an idea. But we're just going to go with it. And what I'm going to do, what I may do also with this is a standalone. Once you flip it over, it'll stand on its own. But I think what I'm going to do is give it, actually that's kind of, I don't know, I might try that. This is a druzy mold that I got in with that order as well. I was thinking of filling this also with like some glitter, and then putting these on top so that when I flip it over, it'll have like a little stand. So I'm not sure if I'm going to do that just yet, but we shall see. For now, I'm just going to fill this. I have to fill this first and let it dry or let it cure anyways. So we're going to go ahead, and you want to dump slowly to make sure that you get all the air, all the crevices down below and all that good stuff. So I'm just not pouring too fast, and we just kind of want to let it go down. And once we get up a little bit to the top, I'll start kind of hitting, you know, pounding it to see if we can get any air bubbles out. See, like right now I'm almost to the top. So I'm going to do this little, you know, little motion to not only get any air bubbles out, but that'll help get the resin down to the bottom. This is my first time doing a deep mold like this. So hopefully, hopefully this will turn out good. And another thing I forgot to mention is typically when you're doing a deep mold like this, two things. You want to either use deep mold epoxy resin, which is made specifically for this, or like I said, I don't know if this is going to work for what I'm doing. I'm going to push that down just a little bit because I see it's starting to come up. So what you want to do is either use deep pour resin or pour in layers. So because what can happen is if you pour too deep with regular resin, you can get, it'll flash cure. It can flash cure on you. Most likely it will. So I put about 2 ounces in there, maybe a little over 2 ounces. I need to figure out how to, see, this is kind of rising up a little bit. I need to figure out how to get that down. I think what I might do is not fill it completely full. I'm gonna get more air bubbles out. Not fill it completely full. And any air bubbles you see, you can just take your stick and kind of pop any that are at the top. So I'm gonna let this cure just like it is. And then that way this little ball will be stuck in place and it won't move. So when I fill it the rest of the way, I won't have an issue of it trying to rise back up. So you have enough to fill this mold here. So what I'm gonna do is add, let's see. Since this mix that I used in the Snowglobe portion is like kind of whitish blue, I think I want to use, I'm going to use this purplish kind of holographic glitter here. So I'm going to dump just a little bit of that into my cup here. And we're gonna give that a little stir just to mix it all in. And I think this should be just enough to fill this mold. I'm trying my best not to move this so that it doesn't get out of place. So I'm gonna go ahead and dump. Oh yeah, I think this is gonna be just enough for this. Perfect. Oh yeah. Alright, so that's just enough for that. So I'm gonna let that cure up and let this guy cure up, and then we'll come back when it's all cured and we'll finish the next step. Hey guys, welcome back. I demolded this already, and the reason I did that was because I needed to, there was kind of a lump here because the ball that I had inside was sticking up just a little bit too much, and it kind of created a bump. So I put a couple of layers of epoxy on there, and then I sanded this part down with a Dremel tool and used my sandpaper to, light grit sandpaper to just kind of smooth it out a little bit. It's still rough. You can see like lines and everything on there, but that doesn't matter because it's going to be facing down, so you're not even going to be able to see it. So what we're going to do now is take this out, and this is what we have here for this guy. And the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to put, I know this is not flat, like, or, flat upright and level, but that's okay for now. So what we're going to do is I'm going to mix a little bit of epoxy, just enough to make a glue, like not even a full ounce worth or anything like that, just literally, even that probably, I just put like half a pump of each, part A and part B, and that's probably even too much. You want just enough to coat the bottom of the of the skull here. So I'm going to go ahead and spread it on there, but first I'm going to use my finger, so I'm going to throw a glove on. So I am going to, let's see, mix it up just a little bit more. So I'm just going to throw a drop on there, about like so. And just kind of spread it out. You can add more as needed, but you know, I just want a little bit. You don't want too much. I'll put one more little drop, and that should be good. Alright, so that covered the whole thing. So now what I want to do is take this guy, place it down, and I'm going to, you can place it however you like, but I'm going to make it so that it's even all around. Not too far in the front, not too far in the back. On the sides are kind of even. So that's good. So it's flat on the surface, so it's, you know, the resin is touching the bottom of this now. So I'm just going to leave it like that and let it set, and it'll cure up and act as a glue between the two, the skeleton and the, and actually I think I may, because this is fully cured, I may put something on it to kind of hold it down just a little bit. I don't know that you need to. I'll find something to weigh it down, but for now I think we're just gonna leave it like this and see. I can always come back to it if I need to and see if it needs something to put on there, but for right now I think we're gonna leave it just like that and see how that works. Hey guys, welcome back. I wanted to just give a quick little update. This guy has finally glued itself down with the resin that I put underneath it, so I just wanted to kind of show you a little bit, you know, the finished product. Here it is. Let me see if I can shake it up a little bit and get the little effect. There you go. So it's pretty cool. I like that. I think next time if I did something like this, I would put some mica powder on the flowers up here so you can really see it and make that, you know, colored. And maybe in the back here, there's one leaf kind of hanging out. I think I would color that as well. And then just leave the rest clear so that you could see the snow globe portion of it. So anyway, so here's this guy. And let me know what you think of this down in the comments. And if you would like me to try it again, like I said, I would definitely color the roses and the leaf, and I would probably add more glitter to the globe. I mean, it's cool the way it is. You can definitely see it moving around in there, but I just like to see, you know, a little bit more. So we'll see, you know, make it a little more chunky. But anyways, let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.